Hello and welcome back to Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. So the second legs of this season's Champions League semi-finals are finally here, with the first game taking place later on today between Barcelona and Chelsea from the Camp Nou. So looking back at the first leg, it was obviously Barcelona that won it 1-0 thanks to a Carolina Graham-Hansen goal at Stamford Bridge, and that was enough for Jonathan Herald's side to maintain the victory and come into this second leg with that goal advantage. Now it's going to be incredible to see how Chelsea can get on. Again, they're still without Khadija Buchanan and Millie Bright for this tie, so are they going to be able to stand the test? And obviously going to a Camp Nou, it's a big task for Chelsea to try and overcome Barcelona, who are absolutely impeccable at home, not just at the Spotify Camp Nou but also the Johan Cruyff Stadium as well. Obviously that's been seen in the league, so it's a tough task for Chelsea coming into this one. Obviously, looking on Barcelona's side, on Wednesday, manager Jonathan Herald has confirmed that Lucy Bronze will miss the game due to undergoing keyhole surgery in her knee. So obviously we saw Bronze limp off in the second half against Chelsea in the first leg, and will be out for a couple of weeks, so nothing to worry about too much there. However, a great bit of news is the return of ALEXIA Putellas, who has obviously been missing since July last year after she tore her ACL, so she's back in the squad and could play some minutes later on tonight. So that's absolutely fantastic to see Putellas back in football, and hopefully we can see her back at her best, what we've seen prior to her ACL injury. But yeah, if it wasn't already a hard task for Chelsea, having Putellas back, it has now made it 10 times harder for Emma Hayes' side. Looking ahead now to the second tie between Wolfsburg and Arsenal, that will take place on Monday from the Emirates Stadium. 2-2 draw in the first leg. Good result for Arsenal in the end, obviously coming from 2-0 down to peg Wolfsburg back to 2-2. The first time since 2015 that has happened to Wolfsburg, where they've blown a 2-goal lead, and obviously Arsenal are going to have a bit of a favouritism because obviously being at home, the Emirates Stadium, and having a good attendance with them will definitely help in that situation, and it's definitely going to be a tough task for Tommy Stroot's side, but I do think both sides can get it, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is one that potentially goes all the way to penalties, because I think it's just too close to try and call a winner in that one, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit whatsoever. Obviously Arsenal still without Leah Williamson, Beth Mead, blah blah blah, and Kim Little, but they'll be hoping to have Lena Hurtig available for that one, and obviously no other injuries have happened as of the time of recording, so that's a good bit of news for you on the side of our side. After obviously you may have seen on Sunday when they were trying to take off to come back to England, they had fire with the plane. Obviously everyone was safe, and they took back off and obviously were able to come back over to England, but that was obviously a big scare for Arsenal in their preparation for this week, and obviously the Champions League tie taking place on Monday, so a week between that fixture, and it should hopefully help Arsenal get in the right frame of mind and hopefully get back to a Champions League final and become the second time winners, obviously winning it all the way back in 2007. I'm excited for both semi-finals. Like I said, I think it's going to be really hard to call Wolfsburg-Arsenal. I would still give Barcelona favourites in that first leg, the first tie taking place tonight, just simply because of the fact how well Barcelona played at Stamford Bridge, and it didn't seem that they got much out of second gear, and I think there is still a better Barcelona to come, so that's why I have them as slight favourites in that tie. So looking ahead to the rest of the weekend's fixtures across the leagues, not many leagues have action this weekend, only the one game in Germany and no games taking place in France this weekend, but we'll start off in England, and on Friday it is Aston Villa versus Manchester United. Aston Villa, the best of the rest outside the top four, whilst obviously Man United leading the way at the top of the WSL, looking absolutely fantastic. Mark Skinner's side, and this one, it makes them if they win this one, it puts them a step closer to winning that WSL title. Obviously they've played more games than Chelsea and Arsenal due to their Champions League commitments, and obviously Chelsea being in the FA Cup as well, but you've got to take each game as you can, and obviously Mark Skinner's side are doing that really well at the minute this season, so I would give them just a slight favouritism in that one. Obviously Aston Villa drawing their game last time out. Then we have Leicester versus Liverpool on Saturday and Tottenham versus Brighton. Big game, Leicester versus Liverpool, both teams trying to get away from that relegation zone as much as possible, but it's going to be a hard fought battle. And then Spurs Brighton, again both teams in similar situations as Leicester and Liverpool, trying to get away from that relegation zone and not be the team that come the 27th of May are being relegated to the Championship. And then the one game on Sunday sees Manchester City versus Reading. I think we could see a very similar scoreline to what Manchester City put up last weekend against West Ham United, where they won 6-2, so that wouldn't surprise me at all there. Over in the Netherlands, it's a big game on Saturday between Ajax and FC Twente, the top two sides meeting in the Vrouwen Eredivisie. FC Twente are on 51 points, Ajax on 49 points, so this one really could be the league decider between the two. Obviously, if neither side drop points or it ends in a draw, then it will obviously go down to the final weekend of the season, the following weekend, but it's going to be a really close battle, and I'm for one excited to see how that plays out. Elsewhere, the weekend in the Netherlands kicks off with Feyenoord versus PEC Zwolle on Friday evening, and then another game on Saturday is PSV versus VV Alkmaar, and then Telstar versus Den Haag and Excelsior versus Heerenveen are the two games taking place on Sunday. Over in Spain this weekend, one game on Friday as Alhama take on Sevilla. Saturday sees Granadilla Tenerife versus Levante, Valencia versus Alaves, Levante Las Planas versus Athletic Bilbao, and then the rest of the games taking place on Sunday. Obviously, Real Madrid playing against Madrid CFF, and the one team that won't be playing, Barcelona are set to be in action on Sunday against Sporting Cuevla, because obviously they're playing tonight in the Champions League. And then finally, over in Italy, just a couple of games this weekend: Sampdoria versus Sassuolo, Roma versus Fiorentina, Parma versus Pomigliano, and AC Milan versus Juventus. So we're coming down to the final few weeks now in this regular seasons before obviously the World Cup and the Champions League final early in June. So make sure you stick with us on this channel so you can keep up to date with all the latest news and stories and everything as and when it happens, and that you're following us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest breaking news. And make sure you subscribe to this channel, post notification bell turned on, and in the meantime, we'll see you soon.